Kalonzo has a special relationship with Uhuru Kenyatta. And I've said if Uhuru Kenyatta was to work for Ruto, he will very easily target Kalonzo. I'm not sure whether he will resist. I would want to hear Uhuru Kenyatta targeting Kalonzo, not some reverend, some pastor somewhere, some priest, or some rainmaker. I think the reason why they may focus on Kalonzo, it does appear to many people, perhaps even to Jadel Kabiro, that Kalonzo could be the guy to get this ticket. He looks more like the compromise candidate. And therefore, I will not be surprised if all focus is on Kalonzo. And I can tell you for a fact. Well, let me not say for a fact. It's just a manner of speaking, of course. Let me tell you this. If Kalonzo is not getting this thing, you can bet, for those of you who bet, my religion doesn't allow me, that Gachagua will run.
Great to see you. Hello there and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. I'm Jadil Cabrero. We're going to talk about Kalonzo Musyoka. Prof. DCP made a statement that William Ruto is poaching Kalonzo day and night using men of clothes, local politicians, medicine men, and rainmakers. This is DCP. It should be remembered that Ruto defeated Raila by just 200,000 votes. He must be very worried to know he lost Mount Kenya and Raila also lost Ukambani. But how are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
I've heard there are a lot of fake news supplying online.
Yeah.
I'm receiving messages that you are supporting some candidates out here.
No. I have every right to support a candidate of my choice. But what I normally do is not support candidates. I just look at things and try to share my thinking and my views and my opinion and what I think as a commentator and as an analyst, as a person who has a bit of strategic knowledge in both communication and politics. And I'm not a prophet and I'm not anything like that. But I get very annoyed when people keep putting words in my mouth, misquoting me. I may be an authority, but don't misuse my name. They think once we say Manyora has said, that's very bad. And I'm thinking of suing these guys, especially these people of Seven, what is it called? Channel
7 News, Global.
7 something. I'm going to sue them. I'm getting annoyed with them.
Anything out
Because
of
people stop me, people tell me things, people insult me, people congratulate me. I wonder, things have not said, and that's not right. They should be sensitive. They should know I'm a public figure. I also have friends. I may lose some friends.
But talk to me about Kalonzo Musyoka.
Yes.
DCP says men of cloth, medicine men, rainmakers. I hear there's a lot of cash supplying around so that they can reach Kalonzo. Government wants Kalonzo that badly. Why do you think this is the case?
But that's an insult to Kalonzo. That is to suggest that Kalonzo is a boy, a small boy, to whom you can say in some stupid rainmaker or some magician.
Rainmakers.
Yeah, or
Medicine men.
some reverend there. Yeah, what do they think Kalonzo is? A kid? Kalonzo has been around. He has been things in this country. Rising to become vice president for a full term. Held serious dockets, Minister of Education, Foreign Affairs. Held senior position in the ruling party, KANU, organizing sector for many years. Is that the Kalonzo they are talking about? There's another Kalonzo.
But this is DCP.
Same Kalonzo.
This is Gachagua.
No, Gachagua should also. I know Gachagua has his way of talking, but please, you are painting Kalonzo in a bad light, bad picture.
Why do you think this is the case, that they want Kalonzo? And this conversation has been there. No one else, not Wamalwa, not Gachagua, not
I have also said this.
Simply Kalonzo.
I have also said this. Kalonzo has a special relationship with Uhuru Kenyatta. And I've said if Uhuru Kenyatta was to work for Ruto, he will very easily target Kalonzo. I'm not sure whether he will resist. I would want to hear Uhuru Kenyatta targeting Kalonzo, not some reverend, some pastor somewhere, some priest, or some rainmaker. Same with Matiang'i. I've said these are people over whom Uhuru can have some influence. So if I hear Uhuru is trying to influence Kalonzo or Matiang'i, I would understand. But not this Nobody's.
I'm asking
That
why.
is, that's to esteem Kalonzo very lowly.
Why is it that we're just talking about Kalonzo when it comes to government?
The focus is on Kalonzo for a very obvious
you'd
reason.
expect Natembeya or Wamalo or Matiang'i.
They have said
but
that
we're
about
just listening to
Natembeya
Kalonzo.
also. They have said about Natembeya, even Eugene. They have said many things about all these politicians except Gachagua. Even Gachagua, they have said, is working with Ruto. So these things are always said. But I think the reason why they may focus on Kalonzo, it does appear to many people, perhaps even to Jadel Kabiro, that Kalonzo could be the guy to get this ticket. He looks more like the compromise candidate. And therefore, I will not be surprised if all focus is on Kalonzo. Despite all things said about Kalonzo, he's a man on the table. He's the man on the table.
The compromise candidate.
Because I can tell you for sure, I can see this game from far. All of them will compromise on Kalonzo. Because Matiang'i will not compromise for Gachagua. Neither will Gachagua compromise for Matiang'i. Finally, they may now compromise on Kalonzo. And that's why the focus is on Kalonzo. And I can tell you for a fact. Well, let me not say for a fact. It's just a manner of speaking, of course. Let me tell you this. If Kalonzo is not getting this thing, you can bet, for those of you who bet, my religion doesn't allow me, that Gachagua will run.
It's either Kalonzo or Gachagua.
I've no doubt in my mind.
Why? Why not Matiang'i? Why not? Let's not bring Wamalo, but why not Matiang'i?
I can see.
Or Martha Karua.
Kalonzo only comes in as a compromise candidate because Gachagua is intent on running. And if he's going to compromise, it can only be to compromise on
Kalonzo. How big is Kalonzo in national politics?
He's big. I've just told you, Kalonzo is big. He has his own shortcomings. He doesn't play politics in the way in which people are used to Raila politics, Ruto politics. But they must also be reminded, nobody gave Moi a chance. Nobody gave Kibaki a chance, but they became president. Even Kenyatta was not a fiery politician. People forget that. There were people there who coughed in the Legico, you know Legico? Legislative Council.
Yes.
The precursor to the National Assembly. There were men there who talked and walked tall. Kenyatta was just a dwarf. Kenyatta couldn't talk in front of tough men like Kinamuliro, Ngara. There were men.
This is history for us.
Yeah, there were men, but Kenyatta wasn't one of them. Kenyatta was just some name, some legend created somewhere, some myth. But he couldn't talk where men were talking.
So this thing called charisma in politics, is it really needed? When you bring that example of Kenyatta, you bring that example of Kibaki. This thing, I saw Maraga dancing with some youth, trying to show some charisma. Maybe we're accusing him of lack of. But
it works in sometimes instances. Sometimes it doesn't work. It helps people. It helped Ruto. But throughout our history, there has not been a president who came in because he was a Ruto or a Raila. So even as we demean Kalonzo, in fact, he's on the right path because he's in good company. He's in the company of Moi, Kibaki, and even Kenyatta. People who are not very dramatic. People who have been charismatic and dramatic and daring. They have not made it. Jaramogi, Raila, and the one or two others. And the others are still around. And this is something people like Gachagua have to put in mind, to bear in mind. If you must go against the grain, then you must go the Ruto way. And that's what Gachagua is doing.
Let me ask you about Kalonzo again.
That's what we thought Matiang'i will also do.
You said underwhelming comeback for Matiang'i.
But now I'm beginning to see another pattern emerging. He's addressing a different audience. Yes.
You talked about that with Richard. You can watch that show. But Kalonzo Musyoka, what factors would necessitate him going to the government? If he asks you, what are the pros if I join?
The first thing that will make Kalonzo perhaps join the government is if Gachagua decided to run.
Akae ngumu aseme, I'm not giving Kalonzo.
Or if Matiang'i. I mean, for Kalonzo, he cannot support anybody else, and rightly so. You know, he would cede ground to Raila, and it was understandable now. Who will he cede ground to now? All these are junior to him. It was so painful for Kalonzo, not only to cede ground to Raila, but to cede ground to Martha Karua.
And subjected to an interview, by the way.
You can through an interview again. It was so demeaning for Kalonzo. You can't take Kalonzo through the same now. So I can see if Gachagua runs, Kalonzo will just, because he knows, of course, Gachagua would want Kalonzo to run also, so that those votes are lost. But Kalonzo realizing these votes could be lost to give the man who has betrayed him, who will have betrayed him, then he can join government. Tell Kambas, this guy thinks we are fools. Let's support Ruto then. And even without saying it, for example, if he didn't run, the Kambas will just vote for Ruto.
Why? How?
It will be so hard.
They are the Kuzos.
No, your narrative, they will not buy it. Forget about it. These are human beings, and I would understand. So that's why I think it looks likely to me that if Gachagua is not running, the man to carry the ticket will be Kalonzo. Again, many factors considered.
And still on factors.
And others ignored.
Still on factors. What factors could also necessitate the loyal opposition not to give Kalonzo Musyoka that ticket to be the flag bearer?
One, the suspicions that are flying around that he could easily abandon ship and he could easily succumb to pressure. Two, the feeling that he's not strong enough given his past. And I already dismissed that. But the feeling that he's not strong enough, he doesn't have fire in the belly.
Given his past, what were you dismissing there? That he's not strong enough?
I'm saying, even the so-called strong people have not always won the election. And I give a new Jaramogi and Raila. And the fairly weak ones, including cowards like Kibaki, became president. So why would you dismiss Kalonzo because he's not as fiery as you want him to be? Those who are fiery have not become president, apart from Ruto. Right?
Yeah.
But they may feel he doesn't have that thing to be able to face Ruto. And then there is also the argument that you need a man or woman who brings votes. So if Kalonzo is coming is a measly 2 million from the Kamba nation, and Kalonzo is bringing, and the Gachagua is bringing like 6-7 million from Mount Kenya, they feel, surely, we look for a person with it. And finally, there are those who look at pockets. That if you want to run a presidential election, really, you need to have money. How much do you have? The story that have been told, whether true or not, most likely untrue, that Moi called these guys who wanted to be president in 2002. Akaambia Kalonzo uko na ngapi? Kalonzo akasema maybe I don't know 100 million or something like that. Musalia Mudavadi had a little more. What? He dismissed them and he gave Uhuru Kenyatta. Those stories, they may not be true, and indeed they are actually not true, perhaps. But they demonstrate. They demonstrate that money also plays a big role. If you are going to run a presidential election, your colleagues can ask you, how much do you have?
Then how should Kalonzo counter these arguments that you have put on the table, especially when you look at the watermelon tag that has always been there?
He just says, that's my style. That's my style. I don't have to punch air and don't have to dance on the stage. That's my style. And cite Kibaki's success, the so-called success. Jeno Kigoya, you are a Kikuyu speaking, though you don't know Gikuyu. Jeno Coward. Yeah, but he became president. People think a very good president. I think otherwise, but it's neither here nor there.
He became president, either case.
Yes. So Kalonzo can stick to that. You don't have to be abrasive to become president or even to be a good president.
Then finally,
just say, this is my style.
Would he be the best?
Best is a very strong word. Best
for the coalition.
In which sense?
For the coalition. Would he be the best? They give him this flag bearer, they give him this ticket, and they tell him, we will support you. Let's take you out.
What makes Kalonzo ideal is the fact that he will cause the least split. Yeah. Because if you give Kalonzo and Gachagua will have no big problem. Even Matiang'i, even Wamalwa.
You've used ideal, not the best.
Yeah,
He's ideal for that position.
yeah, he will cause least friction if you land on him. And he's not a very young boy. Okay. So he's a man you could quietly talk to about 5 years. And negotiated one term, not a political one term, and negotiated one term. Or at the very worst, you can remove him if you are Gachagua in 2032, after you have dealt with all your cases. I mean, Gachagua may not be happy to hear this, but this is politics. So he's a compromise. He's the ideal compromise candidate. Ideal. But you say the tag hanging on him that he could easily be compromised by the government side, by the Ruto side, by the Raila side, with the help of Uhuru if Uhuru crosses the other side. Let's say Uhuru realizes that it's becoming difficult to sell Matiang'i and tells Matiang'i, you come this side. Let's work with Raila and Ruto so that you become the prime minister, because we are going to have a prime minister. It will be very difficult for Gachagua to believe this guy can.
Kalonzo Musyoka
Will not be
can
influenced.
resist.
Yeah.
The
So-
sickness.
So I feel Gachagua. I'm telling you, I feel Gachagua.
He has to go home and solo.
I feel Gachagua has a big problem. He comes with the most votes, with the most money, the most influence. You saw when he was out, there was no opposition. He's the leader of the opposition in every sense of the word leader, in the manner in which Raila was. Comes with the most votes, the most influence. And then he must cede ground to another person whom he may even doubt. I really feel Gachagua. I feel for him. I see his dilemma. I can see, I don't know. I haven't talked to him about
But
it.
you can feel it.
But I can feel it. I can see the torture he's going through. What is going through his mind. With all this influence, holding the opposition in his hand, with the ability to face Ruto, man to man, then he sits ground to a person he may doubt. I can feel for Gachagua.
Then what do you do?
It'll be the biggest test of his life.
What do you do if you're coming up with this coalition? When you're given that position and you're told, you feel for Gachagua, you know Kalonzo Musyoka, he's the ideal, as he put it, candidate. What do you do when you're told, Prof, to say hapa in this coalition?
They pay me. If they pay me, as usual, I go where?
In Mombasa.
What do I do with my feet? I remove
Put your
my socks.
toes in the beach.
Water, my feet in the water.
Yes.
Sand and water passing between the toes.
Yes.
I'll think for them with dollars in my account.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation with Prof. Herman Manyora. Until we do talk again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.